silencing them as long as the least possible hope remained. Accordingly, during all this time, Richard treated Saladin with the greatest courtesy. He sent him many presents and paid him many polite attentions. All this display of urbanity towards each other on the part of these ferocious and bloodthirsty men has been actually attributed by mankind to the instinctive nobleness and generosity of the spirit of chivalry, but in reality, as indeed too often the case with the pretended nobleness and generosity of rude and violent men, a cunning and far-seeing selfishness lay at the bottom of it. In the course of these negotiations, Richard declared to Saladin that all which the Christians desired was the possession of Jerusalem and the restoration of the true cross, and he said that surely some terms could be devised on which Saladin could concede those 2 points. But Saladin replied that Jerusalem was as sacred a place in the eyes of Mussulmans and as dear to them as it was to the Christians, and that they could on no account give it up. In respect to the true cross, the Christians, he said, if they could obtain it, would worship it in an idolatrous manner, as they did their other relics, and as the law of the Prophet in the Quran forbade idolatry, they could not conscientiously give it up. By doing so, he said, we should be accessories to the sin. It was in consequence of the insuperable objections which arose against an absolute surrender of Jerusalem to the Christians that the negotiations took the turn which led to the proposal of a marriage between ex-Queen Joanna and Saladin. For when Richard found that no treaty was possible that would give him full possession of Jerusalem, and the letters which he received from England made more and more urgent the necessity that he should return, he conceived the plan of a sort of joint occupancy of the holy city by Mussulmans and Christians together. This was to be effected by means of the proposed marriage. The marriage was to be the token and a pledge of surrendering on both sides of the bitter fanaticism which had hitherto animated them, and of their determination henceforth to live in peace, notwithstanding their religious differences. If this state of feeling could be once established, there would be no difficulty, it was thought, in arranging some sort of mixed government for Jerusalem that would secure access to the holy places by both Mussulmans and Christians, and accomplish the ends of the war to the satisfaction of all. It was said that Richard proposed this plan, and that both Saladin and Saladin evinced a willingness to accede to it, but that it was defeated by the influence of the priests on both sides, the imams amongst the Mussulmans, and the bishops and monks in Richard's army were equally shocked at this plan of making a compromise of principle, as they considered it, and forming a compact between good and evil. The men of each party devoutly believed that the cause which their side espoused was the cause of God, and that that of the other was the cause of Satan, and neither could tolerate for a moment any proposal for a union or alliance of any kind between elements so utterly antagonistical. And it was in vain, as both commanders knew full well, to attempt to carry such an arrangement into effect against the conviction of the priests, for they had, on both sides, so great an influence over the masses of the people that, without their approval, or at least their acquiescence, nothing could be done. So the plan of the alliance and union between the Christians and the Mohammedans, with a view to joint occupancy and guardianship of the holy places in Jerusalem, was finally abandoned, and Joanna gave up the hope, or was released from the fear, as the case may have been, of having a Saracen for a husband. End of chapter 16.